everyone, Cleo here, welcome to my channel. I am refilming this video because all the footage was out of focus, so I'm hoping that this one for once is in focus. I kind of checked it by using the remote control for my camera to take a couple of pictures for the thumbnail, so they look to be in focus, so I hope this is in focus now. I will check in a couple of minutes. But so yeah, today I want to introduce you to my May TBR, otherwise known as the Asian Readathon TBR. Now I first stumbled upon the Asian Readathon when I watched the announcement video on Cindy's channel, Read with Cindy. And now the Asian Readathon is co-hosted by a host of people, but I definitely don't want to be leaving anybody out, so I won't even try to remember these names because I have a horrible memory. But I will link all of their channels down below, so definitely do check out their channels as well for more inspiration in case you want to join the Asian Readathon. So the Asian Readathon basically comprises of 5 different challenges. You are allowed to combine challenges, so you don't need to read 5 books if you don't want to. There is one group read that you should be reading, so you should at least be reading that one book. And then if you read multiple books, the idea is that you read from different nationalities, so that you don't just read, for example, 2 Vietnamese authors, but that you read a Vietnamese author and then, for example, a Chinese author or something like that, that you have different Asian nationalities represented in order to get more diversity into this readathon. Now I'm very much intrigued by Asian culture in general, but most specifically by the Chinese and Japanese culture. I studied Chinese for a while and I was very much intrigued with Japanese TV shows for a very long time. So I'm most naturally drawn to these 2 cultures, but I'm very happy that this readathon will give me the opportunity, or kind of force me to expand beyond those 2 nationalities. But so I'm very much looking forward to kind of broadening my perspective on Asian culture. Because for me it's mostly reduced to Chinese and Japanese. These are the 2 cultures that I mostly think of when I think about Asian culture, but it's of course way bigger than that. I mean, Asia is a giant continent, so I'm very much looking forward to broadening my perspective in that. The first challenge is actually the most broad one, and that is to read a book by an Asian author. Now obviously I could have gone for a host of books there, and I kind of chose my book there by going through the 4 other challenges first, and then seeing okay, what type of nationalities do I already have in my list of books that I want to read, and then going for a nationality that was kind of close to that. So most of the other books that I will be reading are by authors who have a Far Eastern heritage, so I wanted something different for this one. And so for this one I will be reading an author that's been on my TBR for a very long time. A lot of people in Belgium have read his books, they absolutely love him, he's very hyped here. And I never get around to reading it. Also, I don't like reading books that are hyped at the moment, so I never had time because there was always another book of him being hyped at the time. But so now it's perfect time to start and to delve into his works, and that is 8,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. Now mostly his book The Kite Runner is very well known in Belgium, but I do not own that book, so I will be reading 1,000 Splendid Suns first. I chose this one because based on the synopsis it's a story about friendship between females, which is sort of focus that I don't think that's often being put in books, and that I think needs to be in there more often. And I also always like reading about it. You know, a lot of times females get put off against each other, or there's some sort of rivalry or competition between females, so I really much like the perspective of sisterhood, or in this case then friendship. We are following 2 female characters, Miriam and Layla. Now there's an age difference between the 2, so it's not just a sort of friendship sisterly relationship, but also more of a mother-daughter relationship that almost comes into play with it. So the oldest is Miriam. She is sent off to Kabul, where she needs to marry a guy who's 30 years older than she is. Some 15 years later, due to certain circumstances, Layla needs to join their families, and the novel then explores the friendship that ensues between them, a friendship that grows to be super strong, stronger than like as strong as the bond between females, between sisters, or between mother and daughter. And now all of this is set up against the background of the rising importance of the Taliban in Afghan society, and so I think it's going to be very interesting. It's gonna, I mean, the whole atmosphere is going to be interesting due to this whole backdrop and the rising feeling of uncertainty probably, and danger amongst the private lives of people in Afghanistan at those times. And yeah, just overall I'm very much intrigued, and I'm very happy that I'm going to finally be reading it, because it's been on my shelf for a very long time and I just haven't been picking it up, so I like having an excuse now to finally move it to the front of my TBR and just finally get around to reading this one. The second challenge for the Asian Readathon is actually a challenge that I'm going to forego filling in for the time being. I don't know whether I'm going to end up not fulfilling this challenge, or whether I'm going to be able to do it. It's gonna depend on time. You know, my average book count for a month is 4, so I usually just read 4 books. I mean, I've not read more than 4 books this year, so if I'm gonna be able to get to 5, that would be wonderful, but I don't know yet. So I haven't filled it in yet because I don't have a book on my shelves that can fulfill this requirements. Actually, I do have one, but that would be a reread, so maybe, I'll see. So the prompt is to read a graphic novel or a manga or something like that, which has been written by an Asian author, or in which an Asian artist has contributed to the style, the artwork. I was considering going for Avatar: The Last Airbender for that. I do not own this, so I would need to get it from the library if it is there. It'll all depend if I read the other 4 books plus a book that I still have left from last month, then I will go around in search of that. I also just realized that I could possibly reread the complete Persepolis for this one, so maybe I'll let you know at the end of the month. The third prompt for this readathon is to read a book by an intersectional Asian author, or with an intersectional Asian character in the book. For this I'm reading In the Vanisher's Palace by Ellias de Baudet. Ellias de Baudet is of mixed Vietnamese and French descent. She was born in the USA and then later moved to Paris. And In the Vanisher's Palace, as far as I'm aware, it has a female-on-female relationship, and it's not just a female-on-female relationship, but one of the females is actually a dragon. Now, I don't know what to think of this. It basically makes me think about like paranormal romance or something like that, but I don't know whether it's actually paranormal romance or whether it's just fantasy. I'm hoping it's the latter, because I mean, I enjoy paranormal romance or any type of romance from time to time, but I get more enjoyment out of the fantasy usually. But it's a very short book, so not a whole lot can be done with it, but I will be intrigued to see where this story takes me and whether I like this style of writing, because she also has other books that sound very promising. But so I'll be happy to have a short book in there to kind of offset the fact that I need to read. The fourth prompt for this challenge is to read a book by an Asian author, which was also originally published in an Asian language, so which has been translated, or if you can read it in the original language, of course, you can also do that. Sadly, my Chinese is definitely not that good, but I'm going for one of my favorite authors for this. I'm also very happy to get it done because it is also on my 19 books for 2019 list, so I had to get it done at some point this year. And it is an author of which I haven't allowed myself to buy another book because I still have this one on my shelves unread, and that is Haruki Murakami, and I will be reading The Colorless Tsukura Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage. I'm not going to go into the premise of this too much because I actually never look at the premise of a Haruki Murakami book, just because they're all so whimsical and weird and fantastical that mainly the premise doesn't really tell you anything. I mean, the book will have the main elements that a Murakami book always has, so weird sex, usually some sort of mention of a wishing well, some guy in a midlife crisis and things like this. I know that I saw Cindy's videos about her Asian readathon and that she was going to step away from Murakami because of the way he represents women. I must say that up until now when I've been reading Murakami, I haven't really been very critical of the way he represents women in his writing, but so I'll definitely be taking a look at that in his writing now that it's been pointed out to me. So you will be hearing my thoughts on that in my wrap-up at the end of the month. And so now we've reached the fifth and final prompt, which is to read the group book for this readathon, which is 1000 Endings and Beginnings. It's actually the other way around, 1000 Beginnings and Endings. So this is a collection of short stories from authors from very different nationalities across different Asian nationalities, and they will, as far as I'm aware, it will all be retellings of certain folk tales that are central to their country of origin. I'm very much looking forward to that because I very much like folk tales. I always used to love mythology and legends when I was a child, but of course as I grew up in Europe, I was mostly exposed to like the Roman and the Greek gods, and then like the Germanic gods and things like that, but there was not much attention being drawn to like Asian mythology or like Native American mythology or anything like that, so I'm very much looking forward to these Asian folk tales as well. Now I'll be rounding off my reading for the Asian Readathon in my May wrap-up. However, this will most likely be posted late. It'll depend on how my reading month is going, but at the end of the month I'm leaving on a holiday for like a week and a half or something like that, so it's very much possible that I won't be filming my May wrap-up until I'm back. I don't know yet. Don't hold me accountable. But so yeah, you'll be able to see it at some point in the month of June, and so hopefully I'll be able to round this off before the 27th of May, which is when I leave on holiday, and then I can actually film it and edit it beforehand. But you'll see at the end of the month. So do let me know if you're also joining the Asian Readathon and what you will be reading then. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to it. I don't participate in a lot of readathons, but I really enjoyed the fact that this is a very like flexible readathon, and it also doesn't have like so many prompts in it that you're kind of like, you feel somewhat obligated to like read so many books. So 5 is a manageable number even for somebody who doesn't often read 5 books in a month. So yeah, please let me know down below if you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up, it would really mean a lot to me. And if you like my content, definitely feel free to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell in case you want to be notified when I post next. I do not have a regular schedule, but I do my best.